The Frighteners 1996. The tagline, "No rest for the wicked," features on the VHS tape. The Frighteners DVD version features from the director of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I didn't have to read that. I knew that. Anyway, but that's and it's like rated M, medium level violence. Same as VHS, M, medium level violence featured. So this is one for kids to watch. Well, I wouldn't recommend for kids to watch it, but if under the supervision of a parent, I would only recommend that. I was under the supervision of a parent when I watched it in 1996. I was around 8 or 9 when I watched it with my father. And now I'm going to show you some alternate picture versions of the poster of the Frighteners that I have found, which I thought might be interesting. Here we go. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? All the different versions, I love the creativity. It looks like a bit of the comic from a comic strip, and there looks like a bit of Tales of the Crypt influence, in a way in some of the graphic novel picture covers. And these are all the there's another quote on the other Frighteners picture, different from the VHS one. It says "Dead Yet," and it says "Dead Yet" with a question mark, which very 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 freaky with the picture of it, and that's what it looks like on the 15th anniversary edition Blu-ray. My favorite one is probably the cartoon versions for sure, like the one that has the Frighteners "No Rest for the Wicked" and "Dead Yet" is an awesome quote, and it makes it look even more frightening, and because it's the comedy horror, makes it even more interesting for the comedy horror element. But I love this cover here, The Frighteners, a Peter Jackson film. "Death is no way to make a living." I love that quote. And my favorite things about the film would be the characters, Jake Busey playing the villain, of Charles Starkweather, Dee Wallace Stone playing who you would have seen as E.T.'s mother, and from the Howling franchise, as she plays the daughter of the old lady Bradley. So she's Patricia Bradley, and she's affiliated with the killings. Spoiler alert, this comes up kind of later in the film, but you sort of suspect through the film that she does have something to do alongside Charles Starkweather, played by Jake Busey. And in the later parts of the film, that was the 1958 flashback scenes. And in the modern day element, when you see as the film moves on, you see the Grim Reaper appear everywhere and take people, put numbers on people's foreheads. Once the number is up, that's it. There's an awesome line in the very beginning too that comes from old lady Bradley when she shoots the ghost who has her daughter in the climax of the opening scene before the Frighteners title hits the screen. After Universal Pictures, Robert Zemeckis, all the and Michael J. Fox's name's written up, and it starts off like a Tales of the Crypt kind of thing, which I'll explain to you a bit more about that shortly. And so the opening scene, just like the quote on the cover of the VHS copy, "No rest for the wicked." This one is, the old lady Bradley comes out with a gun. The ghost is under the carpet, about to attack her daughter, and she says, right up to the camera, looks very scary with the way it all happens, the camera panning and everything. "The wicked shall be punished." And she just, the look in her eyes of vengeance, and then she just shoots the carpet that has the daughter under it. But luckily she misses the daughter. The daughter comes out of it, and then the ghost flies right at the screen in the look of the Grim Reaper, and then the Frighteners appears up. And then we get introduced to Michael J. Fox's character. He after a magazine Gazette scene with two people talking on reporting of the murders that are happening in Fairwater, and there's a scene there where it looks very interesting. It's very Robert Zemeckis kind of tone to it, like God, Death Becomes Her kind of reminds me of. Where in that movie, Robert Zemeckis directed it, and he's got the music tone to that film is very similar to some of the music tone in the trailer of that film, as well as the moments of the movie itself. And the female reporter boss lady says to her employee, "Steve, no more references to death as a person." And it's the way the camera pans up close. It looks very interesting. Like, it's very scary look. It's but it kind of like has that Death Becomes Her kind of vibe as well. And yeah, then we get introduced to Michael J. Fox, who comes into a funeral scene, and then he tries to sell his business, offering his services to the public at a funeral. And if they've got any ghost issues, and he gives them these card at a funeral, and the funeral director tells him to go away. And or someone like the funeral director. And he see him throw the cards, gets back into his car, and then drives around, just drives down the curve around all these bends and windy bends. And eventually he crashes into this guy's fence, who you'll see is the third main person of the film, and played by the actor Peter Dobson, as I was saying earlier about his character, Ray Linsky. He knocks his fence, and he has no idea how it happened. Frank Bennis is like a burnout, and he offers Ray Linsky his card. Ray Linsky thinks of him as a joke because he's like a psychic investigator. He takes him seriously for a second, but then he says, one of the funniest quotes in it, "Frank Bannister, psychic investigator," he says to Frank, "That's a good one. You couldn't even see the corner coming, stupid moron. This is bullshit. You're going to pay for a new fence, you hear me?" And then Michael J. Fox reverses out after having enough of this guy in his face. He just knocks over and depletes one of his gnomes. And he says, "Oh, my Lonzo. And he runs after him. "I got your license plate number, you bastard." It's such a funny scene. He's a funny character. And and then we get introduced to Trini Alvarado, the actress who's Ray Linsky's wife, Mrs. Linsky, Dr. Linsky. And she is the one who Frank Bannister ends up having more of a character connection with as the film goes, following the death of Ray Linsky from the Grim Reaper. Spoiler alert. But I just have to, this is all, like, This is all very, exciting stuff, and that I'm throwing into my interview here, and I hope you all enjoy this. And Denny Elfman actually has some very high music influence into the Frighteners soundtrack. 13 out of 16 songs done by Denny Elfman. And the main song, which is done at the end credits, is Don't Fear the Reaper. And that is by an alternate New Zealand cover band. They're covering the Blue Velvet. I'm back. They are covered by Blue Oyster Cults, not Blue Velvet. Blue Oyster Cults and the alternate New Zealand band which features in the end credits of the film.